Welcome to this yin yoga practice for deep sleep. We will be preparing the body for a restful night of sleep by stretching deeply into the hips. Thank you for joining me on this journey of mastering our relaxation. Today, meet your body where it is. If a pose doesn't work for you, you can skip it, modify it, or find a different pose. Today, we will be using a yoga blanket, but feel free to grab any prop that you feel that you may need for support. And remember, your body is the guru. Honor and listen to it. Let's begin our practice seated on our calves in hero's pose or an easy seated pose. Soften your gaze and close your eyes, and let's take 2 mindful breaths to arrive. Inhale through the nose. To exhale, open the mouth and sigh it out. One more time. Let's move into our first posture, child's pose. Seated on the calves and the shins, bring the big toes together and take the knees out wide as the mat or wider. And then walk the hands out in front of you overhead as you land your forehead down on the mat. You have the option to also place a blanket or a block under the forehead. Soften your hip points, soften your chest, and release your belly. You can keep your arms up overhead, or you can place the arms beside your legs with the palms facing up. Make sure you're not clenching by the hips and you're letting go of the whole body. Begin to settle in and slow down your breathing. As you exhale, see if you can let go physically, but also mentally, releasing the day and the past moments right before this practice. This yin practice is designed to unwind and relax the body and the mind. So we will be taking longer holds, and feel free to take deep, mindful breaths all throughout practice. Take your last few breaths here as we prepare to release child's pose. Use your inhalation and place your hands if they were by your sides on the floor, and push up to release child's pose. Find your way into a seated position and draw your left leg in front of you. Your left shin is parallel with the front or the back of your mat, and you're making a 90-degree angle with the left knee joint. The left hip and knee are aligned. The right leg is by your side. Your right hip and right knee are aligned also, making a 90-degree angle with the right knee joint. Your legs are also making a 90-degree angle with the hips being right at the center of that angle. Gently flex the toes towards the knees. Lengthen your spine and sit upright. Feel the sensations in your hip, especially the right hip. As you're breathing, make sure you're not clenching in the right hip and that you're allowing the right hip to relax down. If it feels good to stay upright, you can stay here. And if you want to move a little bit deeper, bring the hands behind the hips and lean back. And notice how this changes the sensation in the hips. You can take some deep breaths. You can soften your gaze and close your eyes, moving inward. Using your inhalations to pull the energy in, to lengthen your spine, and then using your exhalations to relax more, softening your hip points. Soften any muscles that are not being used. Take your last few breaths here as we prepare to release deer pose. Bring the soles of the feet onto the ground and take the feet out wider than the hips. And we're going to windshield wipe the knees side to side, resetting the hips to move to the opposite side. And now we're going to draw the right shin forward, making sure the right hip point and the right knee are aligned and the right knee and the right ankle are aligned. And then look back and just check on the left leg, making sure that your left hip point and your left knee are also aligned, and that the left knee and the left ankle are also in alignment. Bring your fingertips to the ground, sit up tall and lengthen. Observe the difference on this side. Release your left hip, soften your shoulders. Check in with the face and make sure that you're relaxing and releasing the muscles of the face. Give your body what it needs today. If it feels good to sit upright and stay here, stay here if this is enough of a stretch. If you want to move deeper and explore more into the hip, take the hands behind the hips and lean back. Making sure that your upper body and your shoulders are also relaxed if you're leaning back. To release, we're going to inhale. Bring the left leg forward. Place the soles of the feet onto the ground, taking the feet out wider than the hips, and windshield wipe the knees from side to side. Find easy seated pose and cross your legs, and just take a moment to roll out the shoulders. And then we're going to find our way onto all fours. Make sure to have a yoga blanket nearby. Take the knees out wide as your mat or wider. We're going to move into frog pose. And you can take frog pose with the toes together, or you can bring out the legs wide, checking and making sure that the knees are aligned with the ankles, and flex your toes towards the knees. You can stay up on your hands, just pushing the hips back, or you can come down onto the forearms. And find your edge. Your edge is your expression of the pose, where you're getting your deepest stretch, but you're able to stay present in the pose. You're also able to inhale and exhale smoothly. So make sure you're not clenching up, holding your breath, but that you're actually relaxing in this deep stretch. If the knees feel sensitive, you can always place a blanket under the knees for more support. There's a part of our nervous system called the autonomic nervous system. It controls the automatic functions of our body, so the functions of our body that we don't think about. And there's two branches to this, parasympathetic and a sympathetic part. We live most of our lives in a sympathetic mode, that fight or flight mode when we're stressed. During this state, cortisol and adrenaline flood our systems. And it's important that we find balance in our bodies. So we need to swing from that sympathetic state into parasympathetic so that we can allow our body to repair, renew, and also to heal. Participating in practices like yin, where we slow down, you are actually being a facilitator of a calm state. You're setting yourself up for a deeper state of relaxation and definitely better sleep. Let's take our last few breaths in frog pose, seeing if you can find any more space to move deeper. Gently release. Push the hands into the ground if you were down on your forearms. Bring the knees together and then the feet. Staying up on all fours, you can start to circle out the hips, sending the hips in one direction, or find any intuitive movement that feels good to your body. And we're going to grab our yoga blanket and open it out wide. Starting at one end of your blanket, you're going to roll it up into a long noodle. This is going to support us for our next posture, reclined butterfly. Find your way into a seated position and bring the soles of the feet together. You can decide what leg position works for you. You can draw the heels in closer towards the body or draw the heels away from the body. And then place your yoga blanket noodle right on top of the feet and wrap the blanket around the shins and under the calves. The ends of the blanket should end up right behind and at the side of your upper thighs. Let the knees fall out to the side. And know that if you need more support, you can always place yoga blocks under the knees too. Choose where you want to put your arms. You can bring your arms up overhead to cactus the arms, opening up more into the chest. Or you can place the arms by your side. You can place one hand at your heart center or one hand on your lower belly. As you settle in, let the legs go and let the knees soften down. Let the back body go and let the floor support your body. As you breathe, soften your belly. Let the rib cage expand and then contract in as you exhale. Soften the muscles of the face, the muscles around the eyes and the lips. And even while you're lying on your back, make sure you're drawing your shoulder blades down. Soft neck, soft chest. Bring your awareness back to your hip points and make sure you're not crunching or holding at your hip points. Take your last few breaths here. To release, you can place your hands on the outside of the knees and push the knees together. Set your yoga blanket off to the side and draw both knees in towards the chest for wind relieving pose. Feel the release in the lower back, and hold in stillness or rock from side to side. And see if you can hug the knees in a little bit closer and draw the forehead up towards the knees, coming into a nice tight ball. Release the head down. Release the feet towards the ground. And roll onto one side and find your way into easy seated pose. Keep your gaze soft or close your eyes. Take a nice deep breath in through the nose and exhale it out the mouth. Let's do that again. Inhale through the nose, exhale it out the mouth, soften the whole body. Take a moment to just be still and absorb the effects of your practice. To end our time together, I will share a quote from Ralph Waldo Emerson, an American poet and philosopher. He said, "What lies behind us and what lies before us are tiny matters compared to what lies within us." Sweep the arms out, around, and up. The palms touch overhead. Land the palms at the forehead. As a reminder to observe our thoughts and inner voice, they create our reality. Palms to the lips as a reminder to watch our speech and words. They are energy. And palms to the heart center as a reminder that peace begins with me. Thank you for joining me for practice. Peace and ease to you.